Let me take you live now to the Umalusi offices in Pretoria, where reporter Tsecho Moage is standing by. She was at that briefing today. Tsecho, good afternoon to you. So we're talking about this delay that Umalusi is wanting going forward. Where exactly then are these pressure points in the system that it's referring to?
Good afternoon, Jeremy. Well, the main pressure points that Umalusi has spoken about concerning the delay of the results, the release of the results rather, is the issue that the exams start in November. Then there's a marking process which goes well into December, and then Umalusi needs to sit and just make sure that everything is perfect before the results can actually be released. So that is the main pressure point for Umalusi, and that's why they are urging the Department of Basic Education to reconsider and move the release of the results into perhaps later into January or even beginning of February, just so that there's a bit of an ease for them as well, and also for markers, because it could also be quite strenuous for markers to be marking under such extreme time constraints. But joining me, Jeremy, here at the Umalusi offices here in Pretoria is the Basic Education spokesperson, Elijah Mhlanga, who's just going to give us details, obviously, about things like removing the marks just a bit later to the time. Elijah, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. So just give us details about the department's feel as to what Umalusi had to say today.
To start with, we're happy that Umalusi says the exams have been credible and fair. That means we can now proceed with the release of the examinations. But the fact that they've also commended the department for a job well done, it means that those challenges that they had been talking about and asking us to attend to over the years, we have now been able to resolve them. So what we are going to do now is to build on those successes and make sure that we improve the system as we go along. But it was also important for Umalusi to mention that this is the 10th year of the National Senior Certificate, and that the system has matured, and that teachers know what they need to do, and learners also understand what it is that they need to do. So the system is maturing, and that things are beginning to stabilize, irregularities are starting to disappear, and that we can now focus on strengthening other areas of the curriculum. That's why we even introduced 11 new subjects in the examinations for the first time this year, and those subjects have done well. So we're happy overall with the report that Umalusi has given, and that they've given us now a thumbs up to proceed with the release of the examination results.
And how is the department going to then respond to Umalusi's call that the results are released slightly later in the year?
Well, that call is not just for the Department of Basic Education, by the way. Remember, Umalusi also quality assures IEB. They also quality assure Sakai. They also quality assure the Department of Higher Education and Training, and another one. So it's not just us. It's all the assessment bodies will need to respond to this particular call. So it's just that DBE is the biggest assessment body, but everyone will have to respond to what Umalusi is saying, because the number of assessment bodies has increased over the years, so they have more work on their side, not on our side. So this pressure is on their side. So it's something that we'll need to consider. It will have to be discussed in the sector. It's not something that we can change overnight. It will need a thorough discussion. It will need consultation, because it means a change in the examination system. Something that you can't just do. You need to process it and phase it in if it's going to happen. Otherwise, it will be an engagement that will need to be held with them to further interrogate this particular call.
Now, Elijah, we do know that the maths results in IEB had to be adjusted. The marks had to be adjusted for the IEB students, whereas for the Department of Education and for the public school students, the NSC, that was not adjusted at all. What does this then mean for the public schools education system? Is it getting better than the private school system?
Well, we don't usually compare like that, because if we were to check the size of the IEB, it's 57 times smaller than the DBE system, which means the 11,000 candidates that wrote at IEB cannot be compared to the 629,000 people who sat for the National Senior Certificate. So we don't want to compare like that, but what we can say is that the curriculum offering and the learner support that accompanies it is working. We have put a lot of work into supporting our learners right across the country, all provinces. We have visited them and made sure that they finish the curriculum, make time for revision, and we also put in place other measures to ensure that those students that are still struggling get the support. So it means that all the work that we've put in is beginning to yield results. For a subject like maths and science to be left as raw, which means no change at all, it's exactly what the learners obtained, is good for us. Remember, a year or two ago, Professor Volmink of Umalusi, he complained about the performance of maths, and we analyzed it and we asked ourselves, what is it that we needed to do to see an improvement? And we worked on that. That's why now you're seeing this improvement. And we're so confident. That's why we even introduced technical maths, technical science, construction in various forms, and all of those other subjects. South African Sign Language at home language level. So those things do indicate that we were confident with the work that we had put in, such that we could even introduce new subjects to broaden the scope in terms of the choice that candidates have and the careers that they can choose in their lives. So we've done a lot of work, and we will continue to make these improvements. It's just that sometimes when you say these things, South Africans feel that you're not doing enough, but these are results that are starting to show.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Elijah Mhlanga there, the spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education, Jeremy, just giving us details about how the department has done a lot more work, and that is why those marks were actually just left at raw for the Department of Basic Education and the National Senior Certificate.
All right, Tshego Moagi in Pretoria, thank you very much indeed.